Dawn of DC is the 2023 initiative from DC Comics to basically correct the line. Give us an interconnected story in the universe once again. They have kicked off this line of comic books with Superman #1 rebooting the Superman storyline and universe. Issues 1 and 2 are currently out, starting up the first storyline by Joshua Williamson, and I wanted to bring it to you guys so that we can all get excited about the DC Comics soft reboot. This is Comicstorian. I create audio dramas based on comic books that have come out. We cut out the B-plots and subtext so that you still have something to enjoy when you go to your local comic book store or buy them digitally. Now let's get into it. Electricity crackles throughout the air, flying down towards a cowering couple. But that energy strikes the back of the Man of Steel as he suddenly appears. "I've got you," he says with a smile. Superman flies through the air, dodging more of Livewire's attacks. "But who's got you, big guy?" she shouts out. Superman continues to move at a blinding speed, now with a voice in his ear. "Ignore the bystanders. They should have the intelligence to run. Go directly to Livewire and take her out now," Lex says from his cell at Rikers Island. "Hush," Superman whispers, even if Lex can't hear him. A bolt of lightning strikes him on the chest, throwing him into a building. "Did you just tell me to hush? You're such a mama's boy, you bum!" Livewire shouts, and Superman gets up, dusting off his chest. "I wasn't talking to you," he says, ignoring the advice that Lex is saying about attacking Livewire and breaking her arms and legs, pointing out that the brutality would disorient her. As Lex continues his advice while watching TV in prison, he looks up to see the cook has dropped a pile of slop on his tray. "Stop talking to yourself before we ship you off to Arkham," the cook grunts. Lex turns back to the TV, seeing that Superman has triumphed, and he smiles as he takes a seat. "Ignore me all you want, Superman. Once you grasp the dangers on the horizon, you'll be begging to listen," he whispers. But back at the scene of the attack, the police have arrived to take Livewire into custody. Superman is talking with them when he hears the people that he rescued talking about how the officiant for their wedding can't be found. "This sounds like a job for Superman," he says with a smile. It's later that Clark Kent is sitting at the Daily Bugle. He's writing up a story about how Superman saved the day, officiated a couple's wedding, and then stuck around for pictures at the reception. Clark bobs his head as he listens to music over his headphones. But Jimmy gets his attention, warning him that the new boss is coming around. Lois Lane steps out of her new office, shouting at everyone in the newsroom. She reminds them that she isn't going to be taking it easy on them just because she used to be in their shows. "The news waits for no one, and if the story has legs, you had better be chasing it. Do you all hear me?" she shouts out, and everyone springs into action, rushing away. Lois, rubbing her temple. "Why did I agree to this?" she whispers to herself, and Clark smiles, reminding her that she is the best person to keep the Daily Planet honest. "But I'm a predator! I'm going to hunt the story, or I'm going to eat an intern," she tells him. With the headphones off, Clark can hear Lex's voice in his ear again, explaining that the Man of Steel is going to need Lex's aid in protecting the city. Clark finally excuses himself, heading up to the roof, where Lois joins him shortly and the two talk. "So much has happened since I've returned. I'm trying to find my focus, Lois. I'm not totally used to our lives being back to this, but I'm happy," he tells her as a way to explain the headphones. He tells her what Lex has been saying, but Lois tells him that he just needs to learn to focus on other things. But the two of them are then interrupted by something on the skyline. "Great Caesar's ghost!" Lois shouts as they see a whirlwind around LexCorp building. Clark moves at a blinding speed, changing into Superman and flying across the city. But he stops as he realizes that the storm is nanites building something around LexCorp. In a blinding flash of light, the Superman symbol now sits atop the building. Superman looks down at Mercy, who stands on the building's rooftop balcony. "We hoped that would catch your attention, Superman," she calls out, and Superman lands on the balcony with Mercy introducing him to Supercorp. "As a result of Mr. Luthor's most recent incarceration, all of LexCorp has been turned over to you." Superman folds his hands across his chest. "I can't be bought. I told Luthor no." But she leads him inside, taking him on a tour of Supercorp, which has now been designed to offer assistance in helping Superman protect the city. She leads him into a massive room full of people that are all there to help him. "Your new team, imagine what they could do for you. Trust me when I say that ever since we made the change to Supercorp, morale has been through the roof." Superman offers to give the company to the people, but Mercy explains that that only works if Superman takes charge due to Luthor's lawyers. But the final nail in the head of the coffin is when Mercy introduces Superman to a Lex Luthor hologram that is modeled after his father, Jor-El. In anger, Superman storms out of the building, and Mercy watches as he flies towards Riker's Island. "He's on his way to you, boss." "He won't make it," Lex whispers. Superman flies over the city, but he suddenly stops short as he hears a scream of panic. He whirls around to find Parasite feeding on energy from a bus full of children. "I'm so hungry, I could eat a house, but I'll settle for a buffet. Give me that juice!" Parasite hisses. In a blur of motion, Superman swoops down, scooping up the bus, letting Parasite fall to the ground. "Don't worry, kids, I'll have you home in no time." He calls out to the now cheering children, and with super speed, he returns to Parasite. "Finally, lunch," Rudy hisses, but Superman shakes his head. "I just ruined your appetite, Rudy. So before you get into any more trouble, talk to me. How did you break out of Star Labs?" But while Superman is trying to talk this out, Lex chimes in, explaining that there is a weapon that could drain Parasite. "It's possible that it could kill him, but the world will be a better place for it." Lex continues, and Parasite rushes forward, but Superman stomps his feet, knocking Rudy away. He floats over the trees where he landed. Superman assumes that it was Lex Luthor, as this whole thing seems to be orchestrated, but Rudy explains that it wasn't Lex. With that, he rushes forward, grabbing Superman, and begins to drain his powers. And in his cell, Lex smiles. "You should have taken me up on my offer, Superman. I tried to warn you. You and I are on the same team. You see, you're not dealing with your enemies. You're facing mine," Lex says. And in the darkness of a lab, the doctor begins to work, using a powerful scalpel to cut into the skin of Bizarro. Back over where Superman's smaller parasites continue to crawl over his body, leeching his energy and powering themselves up. Superman finally opens his eyes, knocking them all aside. "Enough!" He bellows, leaping into the air to fly away, but he finds himself now too weak and he falls out of the sky. "He's weak! Bleed him dry!" the parasites shout as they leap up at him, but Superman leaps away, using what's left of his strength, climbing up a nearby building. At the top, he looks around in confusion, having never seen Metropolis this dark. "Let's see what we're dealing with," he says, using his supervision. He's shocked to discover that smaller parasites are draining every bit of energy out of the city. Meanwhile, over at the secret lair of the Order of Mad Scientists, the group are fighting amongst themselves, disagreeing with Graft's decision to unleash the parasites on the city. They argue that this could draw Superman's attention, but Graft merely tells them that none of this matters because the best way to help people is to hurt them. Meanwhile, over at Supercorp, the parasites have arrived. Mercy orders her people to get into the safe rooms. "Hurry, power down everything, dump all the energy," she is shouting out, and the smaller parasites rush at them. But Mercy removes her gloves, firing a blast from the robotic arm that she gained during the Lazarus Planet event. The blast tears through one of the monsters, but the horde whirls around, rushing at her. "Hungry!" they all gasp, but Superman is suddenly there, freezing the horde with a blast of his super breath. "Mercy, move!" he snaps as the smaller parasites continue to pound on the ice. Superman turns back to her. Parasite never liked ice, so that should hold this swarm. For now. Superman tells her. She looks at Superman in shock. "I don't get it. This is not how Parasite's powers normally work. He gets bigger when he drains energy. He doesn't multiply," she says, and Superman agrees, but he questions what Lex said to him. "Luthor mentioned that this is a result of his enemies. What exactly did he mean, Mercy?" But Mercy dodges the answer. "I warned you, Superman," Lex says in his ear, watching the events unfold from his cell on his secret computer. Rudy Jones was unleashed a mere few hours ago, and already his multiples have drained most of Metropolis of its energy. I'm slightly annoyed that I never thought of this. Can you imagine if Parasite's powers were able to change and evolve again? He ponders, and Lex looks at the monitors, asking Superman to break him out of jail so that they can tackle this problem together. "Do what he says!" Mercy shouts when Superman tells her, and he shakes his head. "Absolutely not. My next move is to find Parasite Zero, the root parasite. This swarm started with him. The solution will be there. After all of this is over, then Luthor and I will have a chat," he says as he walks away. Superman's plan is to power up Supercorp, which will draw all of the parasites to it since the rest of the city is drained. He comes up with an idea, leaning forward to speak to John and Kara. who are in the city trying to hold off the swarm. Yeah, we've erected a wall of ice that contains the parasites within Metropolis, but at the rate they're multiplying, they could overtake the city by morning, John warns his father. So Superman orders his family to continue containment and try not to get drained. But John warns his father that they couldn't find Lois. Panicked, and in moments, Superman arrives at the Daily Planet looking for Lois and the others. But he is suddenly shot by a brilliant light bullet. They go back and forth for a moment, but Superman explains that he doesn't know who she is, and she tells him that he was gone for a moment. Metropolis is a way of creating its heroes when it needs to. She fires again, but Superman dodges the bullets and appears behind her. Maybe you could stop trying to shoot me and tell me what you want. He then looks up as a ghostly horse suddenly appears walking towards them. I'm here to do you a favor tonight, but consider this a warning shot, Superman. Metropolis's nights are haunted, and the legend of Marilyn Moonlight will ride again. She mounts her ghost horse, and then in a brilliant flash of light, the woman suddenly disappears, but Superman realizes that he's been fully recharged again by moonlight. He suddenly turns as he hears Lois's voice out of the shadows. Smallville. Parasite is everywhere, she whispers as she staggers out, but Superman is shocked to see the woman that he loves has been transformed into a parasite. I'm hungry, she hisses as she reaches for him. The rest of the Daily Planet staff stagger out, having all been transformed into parasite demon monster clones. Oh no, Luthor is right. The parasites have evolved. They're in the air. Superman gasps, looking down at his own hands as they are beginning to transform. And that is the conclusion of Superman issues 1 and 2. Now make sure you like and subscribe so you can stick around here at the channel. And when issue 3 comes out, we'll be bringing it to you right here at the channel. Probably when 3 and 4 come out so we can do a little bit longer video. But either way, I intend on covering most of the dawn of DC right here at Comicstorian. So we'd love for you to be a part of this adventure with us. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really do appreciate all of you guys, and I'll see you next time right here.